2024 has been a year of seized, stuck, rusted, corroded hardware.
And I remember my first time.
This has been your first time.
Yeah, okay.
This has some critters in her.
It's not just an engine, it's a boat.
It is.
Look at the corrosion coming out of this is uncut. Just the distributor cap on my second bolt.
I mean, now that we've got this out and we can see it, what are we thinking for potential issues and setbacks?
You being serious right now?
Crusty?
Oh, this thing's crusty. Yeah, this thing is crusty.
I might have to cut it, Sam.
I might have to cut it.
All right, the teardown continues. How's it going?
Buddy, you gotta ask me like every 20 minutes how's it going, because it keeps going up and down.
Whoop,
You know, it's $100 socket worth every penny.
You're watching Olsen Spec.
About to find out what Tim's doing. Hey, Tim, what do we got going on over here today?
Cleaning, bro.
Cleaning?
Yep.
This is not a part we normally see in here.
No, it's not.
This is only for a trained professional, like yourself.
Yeah, gotta make sure we plug all of our oil galleys, see? Everything gets plugged.
And this is a 964.
This is a 964. And you gotta make sure that you do it on its side vertically like this, so you don't blow any of the plugs out. Super important. Yeah. If not, you're taking a hold, and if not, you're knocking freeze plugs out.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a good day.
It adds 3 or 4 days of work.
You've done it before?
I've had to do it before.
No.
Yep.
No.
You gotta do it right, or don't do it at all.
Yeah. Well, in here we like to do things right.
We like to do things right.
The first time.
Yes, by learning how we did it wrong the first time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. How's the vapor blaster with the new media?
Oh my God! Why didn't you do this weeks ago? Seriously.
It's like a whole new machine, right?
It is. Yeah. And it cuts down your cleaning time like in half.
Oh.
It's crazy.
At least.
Yeah?
We're gonna stay on top of this machine more now that we learned a little bit more about it. Well, now that I learned a little bit more about it.
Don't you have people for that?
For the machine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just directed.
Yeah.
I didn't do.
Super important.
Yeah. Last week we didn't talk about VIP for last week. I want to give that trophy to Mark.
You sure you don't want to give it to yourself?
No. I never need an award.
That's my boy.
Mark, man, I pull Mark. He gets pulled in as many directions as myself, and he never bitches or complains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody.
So he's unlike you.
Totally unlike me. Totally unlike me. It didn't matter how much I tasked him, or everybody else in passing tasked him.
Yeah.
He got it done.
Yeah. He's a quiet assassin.
Yeah. I think the new uniform gave him a whole new spike in his career.
In his career?
Yeah. He loves that uniform.
Hey, this is your song on right now.
Do you have the time to listen to Don Wine?
Classic. That was epic right there.
Ready to roll?
from the comment generator, huh?
Yep.
And so it doesn't fray out on you when you're putting the special sauce in between the brake plate.
I wonder if you think it'll work?
I think so. It's a smart idea.
Not Loctite like everybody says. Just regular old work DOS flange sealer. Nothing special. The only thing that's special is it's just really expensive. According to the internet though, the internet says we use one on the whole engine case. Or we use about probably a quarter one by the time we do all the mating surfaces.
How's your super glue trick working?
Actually, it works really good. This is a fan made a comment about how to get your hairs to not come off of your little acid brush. I was super grateful, and they taught us the trick of putting a little dab of super glue and then putting another crimp on it.
There you go. See,
I don't have any
you're
data.
learning something from your followers.
I know.
Is that
That's
what
the
you're
best.
telling me?
That's the entire point.
Really?
It's the entire point of it is so we can
Here
all
we
learn,
thought you
right,
knew
Don?
everything.
What do you want to learn from me today?
What does Meta say about my process and procedure that I'm using right now?
Well, I just got off the glasses with Meta. I you not. It told me that I was looking at a very well organized shop with people standing in
Around?
one area. Yeah. Possibly discussing like technical something. I forget what the word they
That's what
used.
Meta told you?
Yeah, that's what he told me.
Come on.
It took him a minute to come back. I'm gonna ask him right now. Hey Meta, what am I looking at?
Greatness. Cam, go lay down. Hey. No, I don't have Meta glasses that hold my hand.
I'll get through my day.
Yeah, that hold my hand and walk me through. Like, hey, walk through that door.
Well,
Don't forget to knock.
You know, when you put the hammer down on me, Meta uplifts and it makes me feel better. That this appears to be a Ford Bronco.
Oh, that.
Fix or repair daily.
We know how I feel about Ford.
Grab my rod. Yeah, you got the Olsen touch.
Don't knock it over now.
Anything. Oh, you know what? I f***ed up.
Oh, what you forget? Oh, those are for you.
I would have needed those. No, I f***ed up and forgot something.
Wait, whoa. You made a mistake?
Well, I made a mistake.
Caught in 4K.
Hey, can we get this on record? Can we add this to the ticket?
It's okay. It actually didn't slow me down because I caught it in the perfect time.
Tim, nothing slows you down.
That's not the truth. You slow me down sometimes.
That is definitely the furthest thing from the truth that's ever been said in this building.
So this is the Rusty Crusty 964 Carrera 2 3.8 conversion. It is mostly assembled, still have to do cam timing and waiting on a couple of little small trinkets and bits and bobs for the plating to come back. But it's mostly done. Everything's restored. I don't know if you guys remember how rusted all the fasteners were, all the broken head studs. So basically this is our 3.8 engine package, and as part of that we also put all brand new anything that can handle pressure. So if it's whether it's oil or fuel related, anything with pressure on it gets replaced. So all the lines, all the fuel hoses front to back, anything that can handle any kind of pressure and fluid inside of it gets changed out. But I think it turned out nice. What do you guys think?
That's awesome.
Sick. You know, the next thing is the guys are gonna come over here. What are you talking to yourself for? All right, so moving on, 964. So we got to do rockers. So we have brand new, completely rebushed rocker shafts, and then we have all new hardware. We have new bushings, and we have new receivers, rebushed rocker shafts, and refit rocker shafts and rebushed rocker arms. So these are all reconditioned and should be ready to go. So one thing that we do here is we put the O-rings on. So these are the RSR rocker shaft O-rings. So basically what I do is I just grab some sealant on my finger and just kind of get jiggy with it and make sure I take all of them and just put a light lubrication on all of these. And the fastest, bestest way to do this is just kind of grab them and run a little film. Just get a small coating of them on there. You don't need to goob it up. Doesn't need to be anything crazy. And then I have this little jig right here, and this jig just goes past this. That's the key. You got to go past the little seam here. So it sits in there, it goes past, and then the rocker arm seal comes on like this, goes past, and then you fold it back forward like this, and it'll drop right in. So that's kind of the, I guess, flat rate trick of doing it, if you want to call it that. So I'm going to do this about 25 times. And of course, the very first one is giving me fits. You just kind of mushroom it in there. Run your fingers around it. So you always put these on just because it'll seal without it, but this is an extra presence of mind. So a lot of times you'll get ghost leaks, we call them, and that's the oil's leaking past these, and then it gets into the spark plug galley where the spark plug and the cylinder head bolts are. It'll get in that little galley, it'll weep down, and you think you have a cylinder-based gasket leak or something else, and where it's usually just the rocker arm shaft seals. These don't go in any direction. They're bi-directional, I guess you could say. And then you just stick a nut, a collar, and an end shaft seal on that side. And you repeat this 12 times. So I'm gonna get 12 of these built for this car. All right, so grab a torque wrench, set it to 13.2. That's the factory torque spec. Need a feeler gauge. This is the feeler gauge, the factory feeler gauge. A stubby 5, a strong magnet, flat blade screwdriver, And then over here, I've got in this pocket, I got my BPOA or BOPA, and then my mid-length screwdriver. So this is really all the tools you need to put the rockers in. So we already put our shafts on together, and we've already got our rockers arm. And then here, what I do is I just take a little thin coating of assembly lubricant, put it on there, and just a thin coating, less is more in this situation, just on the bushing. And then a new nut. Like I said, all these parts are new. And let me run over there. So first thing I do is I take my magnet. In my magnet, I'm just gonna slide this in from the other side. Get that started. And then I take a long 3/8 extension and a little dead blow and just drive it from the back. So you're gonna drive it from the back going forward. Just wanna go, not a lot of pressure. Yeah, you don't need much. You don't need a lot of pressure. And then grab my rocker shaft. Put my rocker shaft in there. Drive that guy in there. Like I said, I'm just tapping on it just a little bit. I'm not going any kind of crazy pressure. And then sometimes the little O-ring will work itself out. So it just needs a help. Grab this. And I'm going to drive that guy into the position that I need it, which is flush. And then here I grab a cut. I grab a cut 8mm to hold the backside with. And then just spin this guy down. Once it starts to get tension, you don't really need to hold it. And then torque it, like I said, 13.2. And then we'll set our lash. And here I'm kind of old school. What are you showing me, Don?
Preliminary shaping on fenders.
Nice, why don't you show the camera? So this is the, oh thanks pal. This is the Blue Angel car.
Yeah, we talked, me and Chuck talked to you. He asked me if we wanted a hard line there.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So
we
we're
do.
good last week.
Perfect. I'm excited to get that car back. These guys and their vacations. You're in the way of the camera. You lost the view. Come on, camera. Pick me back up.
He's on vacation.
I never get vacation. This is when you're supposed to say, weren't you just in Florida for 10 days? All right, so that's good to go, at least for timing purposes. And then let me get a jig set up so we can measure our cam timing. This is where I gotta make sure I've got fresh batteries, which I think I do. Come on, little guy. Setup studs here. I need to grab some setup studs because the 964 takes the bolt. Grab a couple setup studs and get those in there. This is where you want to make sure when you're putting these in here that you don't put your crossover tubes in, because your crossover tubes will get in the way and jam you up to where you can't get your dial gauge in. Ask me how I know. All right, so I'm not gonna take an initial measurement on this side until I get my other rocker in on that one. But I know I'm really close. So let's go over to this other side and throw a rocker in. Same deal. On this one, we need to rotate over 360 degrees to get this rocker in. And here, I am showing, what am I showing? Let me reset up. All right, so let's get these rockers in. Little dab on the foot. Little dab inside. Remember, less is more of this stuff. You don't want it leaking out everywhere. And then just a little light film on the camshaft. It's just a lubricant. It's not fill the whole engine with lube. Trust me. And I'm gonna grab my rocker shaft. So the reason that this is a little bit backwards from how I normally do it. I normally do it with all the dressings, you know, on the top of the engine. I normally do it with that stuff all off, but I was on a parts hold. So anytime I'm on a parts hold, I try to proceed forward with as much as I can, because we never have the opportunity to sit there and wait around. So you got to continue forward even if you're waiting on parts, and find something different to do so that you can stay on schedule. If not, all it leads to is delay after delay after delay. So I went ahead while I was waiting on all the camshafts and rocker shafts to come in. I went ahead and dressed the engine and got that all done so that I could proceed forward, which is smart when you're up against time. So what I'm doing here is there's a thin side and a thin side and a thick side on the casting on the cylinder head, and you always want the end of your rocker shaft to be with the thick side. And the reason for that is, if you have this here, if you have it on the thick side, you end up with something like this, and you're not in between the seams on the rocker shaft. You end up with something like this, and it'll just leak. And then this thing's, the purpose of this is to squeeze it together, so you'll end up with a high side right here on the rocker shaft. It'll lead to premature leaks and wear, and it's just, it's a mess. Let me get this semi-tightened down with the wrench first, and then I'll hit it with the torque wrench. 13.2. Then we'll run this bad boy down. That feels pretty good. A lot of the times this is all done by feel. I get it pretty close by feel, and then throw the feeler gauge in. Once you've done enough of them, you can kind of feel where it's clicking, and that's a pretty good drag, and that feels good. So I just snugged this because at the end of the day, when I'm all finished and I still have to check valve clearance, piston and valve clears. So I just snugged that bad boy down. I don't final torque it. We'll throw our setup studs in. Turn these bad boys in by hand. We grab a tool. Since by hand is obviously not working, spin this bad boy down. So I need a stud in here so that I can get my setup fixture in for my dial gauge. Let me grab that. Throw our Fowler gauge on. I think the spec on these, I gotta look it up. I think the spec on this is 1.6. We should be relatively close. If not, be a couple small adjustments and we'll get it there. Got plenty of throw there. So let me throw this guy on. Let me make sure we're at 0. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go backwards, right? I'm gonna go backwards a little bit here. So I reset my camshaft position. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. 0 that. Come back around. To 360. So that's at 360. I'll 0 that. Let me get a small extension. I want to be able to clear. I want to be able to clear this. So I'm at 131 and 422. So this camp's way off. Yeah, this one's way off. So what we'll do, right side's pretty good, but this one's way off, which is crazy. 'Cause I thought I had it pretty close. So we need to go back like 4 teeth on this one. How did I get that so wrong? It's crazy. Crazy. Grab a light. Yeah, I really screwed the pooch on that one. I was way off. Pull out my guy here. Let me look here to get my bearings. So I want to go somewhere right here. Actually, I want to go here. That'll get me down in the, probably in the 2s. I want to check that. Let me swing this around, 360. Zero that out. That should be pretty close. 230. So I still got to go a little bit more. I need to go 2 more teeth. I've seen a bunch of guys do it a bunch of different ways. I've seen guys on videos where they go to a certain point and set it and go back, and then they fiddle part around with it, and this should be pretty close to equilibrium to the other side. Like I said, we're looking for 1.6 of overlap. So what I'm looking at here is I gotta go back. I gotta go forward to 360. When I'm at 360 here, I'll recheck my 0 on this side, which is 0. I'll come back around. 360 on this side. 61, that should be pretty close. So let's talk cam timing, right? So cam timing, I'm setting overlap from one bank to the other. How you do it is at bottom dead center. Remember, they're partner cylinders. Cylinder number 1 and cylinder number 4 are partner cylinders. So at bottom dead center, the valve is open. So at bottom dead center, you want to 0 your right side bank. Then you want to come around to bottom dead center on cylinder 1, and you want to 0 that one. And then when you come back up to top dead center on cylinder 4, you'll get a number right here. Right here, our number is 1.3 on that one. And if I swing this guy around, I'm at 1.7, and my spec is 1.6. So what I need to do is I just need to move this 1 tooth, and it should be right in there at that 1.6 range. So I'm gonna come back. Crankshaft spins in opposite rotation of the camshaft. So I wanna go back a hole. So I moved it 1 hole, lock that bad boy down. Then we'll go back around to rotate to 360. So we can set our, I went past it. I already saw it's a 0.2, so it's gonna be really close. We'll 0 that, we're at 1.7, and 1.5. I still need to go 1 more tooth. Still need to go 1 more tooth. I'm gonna stick it out of this one, go in the hole right next to it, rotate back, shove that guy in, lock it down. Obviously, I'm not final torque here. That's a whole different ball game. And I'm not rattling on the camshaft, I'm just setting it. We'll go back around. So that's at 171. We'll double check our 0 on that side. At 178. That one's 0. 178 or 175. That's going to be close enough for torque. So I'll show you how I torque it. So what I'll do is I'll just pick some random spot on the camshaft. Right now it says 0.55. Let me grab a couple tools and I'll walk you through grab a couple tools and I'll walk you through what I'm doing here. Grab a 19 and a 2-prong jig. That's a 4-prong. That's a 4-prong, 3-prong. So what I'm going to do here is I've got a little bit of load, I've got a little bit of lift on my camshaft. Those my glasses? Where the f were those?
They're on the island over
Come
there.
on.
Yeah.
I was looking for those things. Don found my glasses. So what I need to do here is I need to have a little bit of load on the lifter so I can see my torque yield. And what I mean by that is, I set myself up on the wrong side. What I mean by that is I want a little bit of load on here, and what that does is it lets me look at that dial indicator while I'm torquing it down to make sure that I'm not moving. It's super important to not move. So I'm seeing it's at 0.55, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking to maintain that number as I torque down. I don't want it to move. So it didn't move while I torqued it. Now if I come back around, I should be spot on the number that we had. And that was 171. And then this one will do the exact same thing. Doesn't matter where we are, it just matters that I can see a number. Perfect. It moved around 0.01, but 0.01, they can make a hill of beans with what we're trying to do. Then I'll just double check. 70, I'm gonna run back over to 360. That's at 0. 360 again. $172, 176, close enough. All right, so now I can tear all this down and get my updates to the customer for photos and call that good to go. And that is cam timing in real time.